Good evening. How are you all tonight? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. Just got done with dinner. Had a barbecued brisket burger, which is like a hamburger, but it's ground up brisket, which means it's better, and a barbecued burrito. Barbecued burrito, Steve. What are you talking? This is Kansas City. We put barbecue sauce on everything around here except maybe chocolate ice cream. It might be good on that. I don't know. But I want to talk about the possibility, probability, certainty that China is messing with our food, right? Trying to poison us. We know that they are, right? Somebody messaged me earlier today. I haven't had time. This is the first time I've had a chance to make a video today. I've been signing and shipping out books. Just shipped out the last bunch of books I had, waiting for the next shipment to come in so I can sign all those and get them out to everybody who's waiting. We had a record day yesterday on Amazon for book sales. Thank you all very much. I'm glad you like them. I like the folks that get them from me personally so I can sign them, but however you get them, you're going to love them, and that's great. Okay, you'll learn a lot. The links are down below. I do want to warn you on this. I don't have any books to show you because I even had to send out the ones that I've been holding in my hands to show you. But if you order them from me, I do want to warn you about this, that I don't get them to you as quickly as Amazon. Amazon will get them to you in a few days. It might take me a month because I keep running out. But I get to sign them for you and write a little note in there to you. And I can't believe that even since I've been announcing this, people still been ordering through the website and they're willing to wait a month to get. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I appreciate it because I like to do it. I like to see your name and write your name, and to John or to Bob or to Mary Lou or Susan or whatever like that. I love doing that. So however you want to get them, the links are down below. Just be willing to wait if you get them from me. But you'll be glad you waited. You'll be glad you did. So somebody messaged me today and said that they saw on another channel that the guy was talking about a couple of Chinese nationals had been caught trying to smuggle pathogens into our country. These pathogens could have been or were designed to. Yeah, I'm going to do the best I can here. I read an article real quick. To have an adverse effect on our grain crops. You know, did I listen? What wheat, rice, rye, maize, something like that. Now, good for the guys who caught them, right? But the thing is this: do we think that this is the first time that they've tried to get something through here? Now, these were a couple of students apparently at the University of Michigan, and the University of Michigan is an interesting place. I'll just leave it there. Do your own research. And so they were students, and they said, "Oh well, we were bringing them in. We were bringing them to test them in the lab here just to see what they were. You know, which of course why they were hiding them in their socks or whatever. You know, remember Sandy Berger? I put them in my socks by mistake." It's a Yingling time. Join me in one if you have one, or whatever, whatever you. A soda water if you prefer. The point is this. What do you remember? Remember when all the dogs were getting sick because of dog food made in China? And everybody got all upset. They're poisoning my dog. I think more people got upset back then than are paying attention to it now. Probably because they're not carrying this on the news. Very much. And then, of course, all the lead paint that was on all the toys that were made in China sent over here. Look, China has been poisoning us and trying to poison us for years. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And so the solution to that is simply to be your own provider. Now, this isn't really anything new. This is what we talk about all the time in preparedness. To be your own provider, to separate yourself from dependence on that external system and from those external systems over which you have little or no control, right? And one of the main things there is food. So how do you protect yourself from this stuff? Well, first off, if it comes from China, be very wary. You know what I say that? I mean, there's a lot of food that comes from food stuff, that comes from China. Now, I buy a lot of my food from Aldi, and probably a lot of you do too. And I think Trader Joe's is kind of like that. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever been in a Trader Joe's. I know it's the upscale thing to do, but I go to Aldi, and and so much of that stuff is from Europe, that has a lot stricter laws for the processing and canning of some of their food. For instance, I think their chocolate comes from. I don't buy a lot of chocolate, but I love chocolate. Germany or Denmark, something like that. Their Spam or their lunch meat comes from Denmark. Their olives come from Portugal. But I'll tell you what, there's a better place to get olives. I just discovered this because my brother said that he buys a lot of stuff at the Dollar Tree. If you have a Dollar Tree, right? I know I'm getting a little bit off track here, but I'm going to get back on track. I'm just giving you extra information for which you have to pay nothing. You're welcome. And so he was telling me about all the food that he buys at Dollar Tree. And I said, really? I mean, I buy a bunch of stuff at Dollar Tree, but food? So I started going over in the food aisle, and I found black olives. I eat black olives every day. Some of you know exactly what I eat every morning because I've said it. I don't need to get into it here. I love black olives. And I had always bought them from Aldi, and they come from Portugal. Well, Aldi was out of them for a while, so I happened to be down at Dollar Tree, and I saw they had black olives, and man, and they're from Egypt, and they are so much better than the Aldi black olives. That's just a tip for you black olive aficionados like me. Another sip and we'll get back to this. I know. My evening videos are much more relaxed. Because I've already had a full day. I've worked all day, I've eaten now, and I'm relaxing. But it's just as serious. You have to be careful of where your food comes from. First off, where was it manufactured? Where was it canned? That's for the food that you don't make yourself. It would be nice. The ideal is to grow and raise all of your own food. Most people don't do that. A very, very small number of people. And some people here might do that. Especially I know that some on Patreon do that. But most of us don't. And so if we don't, whatever we don't raise or grow, we have to be very careful where it comes from. Whether it's meat, whether it's beef. We buy our meat from a from a ranch out close to McPherson, Kansas. Great place, Golden Belt beef. We know what goes into that. Boy, eggs are down. Have you seen that? Everybody who was hollering that Trump said he's going to bring the price of eggs down, and he hadn't done anything, and he's been president for a whole 3 months. Well, they're about half of what they were when he got in, right? How about that? Where does the rest of your food come from? If you don't raise it, this is just my suggestion, my warning, really, because China is going to continue. China has multiple ways in to us, through our food, through our medications, and with our electronics. Okay. By the way, I'll take another side road here, just a spur. I come right back onto it. And I noticed, because I was checking a lot of the over-the-counter stuff that I stockpile, and a lot of it used to be made in China, so I was checking all that stuff. When the tariffs started, I told y'all, be very careful about buying anything from China from here forward, because if they get ticked off, they may start messing around with it. Well, I was very surprised to see that a lot of the stuff that I know had been coming from China before is now coming from India. Now, You might say, well, it's still not coming from America. No, it's not coming from America. You'd pay 3 times as much if it were. But at least it's not coming from China. And as far as I know, India doesn't have anything particularly against us that they want to poison us, unlike China. Okay? So my advice here is, if you don't raise or grow your food, or whatever you don't raise or grow, pay attention to where it comes from. Try to develop a close source. Close, I mean close by. Try to develop a local source. And depending on where you live, I mean, I'm in eastern Kansas. I don't have anybody growing oranges around here, right? Or avocados for my guacamole. So there are those things that you're not going to be able to do. But then again, it's good to eat in season, and you can raise a lot of your own. If some of you out there still aren't gardening, you should get into it. It tastes a lot better. It's like growing money, and and you'll enjoy it, and you become more and more independent from the system. But pretty much everything else, if it grows in your area, you're going to be able to find a source for it. Just go. If you're in the country, you probably know some of these people. If you're not in the country, and you know who supplies your store, I'm always surprised at how many. Just because people live in the country doesn't mean that they're eating right, and too many people make that assumption. Because I'm always amazed at, you go to a small town, go in their grocery store. Did it come from Farmer Jones down the road, all their vegetables? No, it came on the supply truck from Kansas City, Where it came from there, I don't know. Chile, Peru, Ecuador. But there's other places. There's farmers markets and things like that. So anyway, just try to source your food as close as you can. Know what you're eating. And assume that the enemy is trying to hurt you, because that's what enemies do. Okay? China has shown by this. If we needed any proof, now many of us had this idea anyway, but there is now proof from these people that we caught that they are trying to poison our food. Take responsibility of what you put in your stomach and your kids. It'll be good for you. Step away. Make this one of the main things that you break away from. And I bet, a lot of you out there already do this. If you're with us on Patreon, it wouldn't surprise me if some of the people on there who are food producers might have some further advice for you. Okay. But you can find out where food is from. Even if you're in a city or suburbs, most of the places have farmers markets, that meet Kansas City's got one every day. But even out in the suburbs, every Wednesday or every Thursday or something like that, and the people come in. Now you have to be careful with that too, because a lot of times these farmers markets, they're not really farmers markets. They're people who just went to a wholesaler and bought a lot of stuff wholesale and then set it up and this is our family farm, and no, it's not. They're just wholesaling it. So be careful. So that's my message and warning tonight. Always assume that your enemy is going to try to hurt you, and always be willing to identify an adversary as an enemy. I think that's another thing that too many people have a problem with too. Well, I don't like to think of people as my enemy. Well, if they're trying to hurt you, they already think of you that way. So you may as well, and you'd better. Okay? All right. Hey, you all have a good night. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And it's up to you. It's your responsibility. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.